Today's episode has got it all. It's got laughs.
The view's not bad either.
It's got tears, and that's why I'm so emotional about it, because and it's got drama.
So we've just discovered that the bit of land that we're on is actually private. Big sign saying dogs on the loose. So we're getting the hell out of here.
So buckle in while I tell you everything you need to know about personalised aircon. Let's start with some tears. Thanks to Ranvoo for sponsoring today's video and for sending me their brand new Aice Lite Plus. This, in case I haven't made it clear, is not a neck fan. It's actual air conditioning because it is cooling the air before it blows it at you. And it's also using the Peltier effect to cool your carotid artery using thermoelectric cooling in a similar way to how your fridge works in your house. Oh, bollocks. I have a science GCSE. That's rubbish. Seen you here for a while.
You win.
So I wanted to start out on a bit more of a serious note this week. I know every episode is kind of dick jokes and me wearing a wig, but there is another reason that I started this channel, not just to make people laugh, but to help people out, and especially people with disabilities. It's a smart home channel. I mean, the smart home automation is so overlooked in my comments section by people who are like, no, we don't need this. I don't know why we need this. I'm like, well, one day you might know why you need this.
Here's an example of a complete bell end.
Lazy is as lazy, or doesn't! Your future 4-0s and 5-0s physical body and bellies well speak volumes about your choices the prior decades. That person can vote. But what they're trying to say, in what I can only assume is them being in the middle of an aneurysm, is that it is lazy to use smart home automation, entirely forgetting that there are people that rely on it to get by. And these things, this is the third one I've featured. I feature them every year, and this is why I'm having this conversation with you now. I want you to know why I keep featuring them. And it's because this has been a huge, huge help to a lot of people. I've been told it in my comments section, I've been told on Patreon, I've been told on Facebook. There are a whole lot of people who have felt amazing because of these, and that means a lot to me. Because I've had even the smallest involvement in helping people find out that these things exist and therefore get to use them. But it's not just for those people. So, I mean, if you're looking at this thinking, well, this doesn't relate to me then, it absolutely does. What I wanted to talk very specifically about is the people in the comments section from the previous models saying, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. How can it possibly work? I'm a scientist that it doesn't work. And there are multiple reasons it really annoys me. One of which is that I showed, scientifically speaking, that it does work. I proved that it works. I could show that it was cooling the temperature around the neck area, even on a temperature sensor that wasn't actually pressed right up against the metal strip. The thing is, right, this isn't even in full contact with a metal plate, because obviously this is a flat square and this is rounded for your neck. And it still managed to drop quite significantly from 25 point something down to 23.7. And this is an ambient temperature sensor as well. That's the other thing you have to remember, is this thing is trying to measure the ambient temperature of the room, not just the thing it's pressed up against, and it is boiling hot in here. But more than that, I actually went looking through the comments in the previous videos from people that were saying it had changed their lives. They were using it on a daily basis and it had changed their lives. One patron of mine was suffering with a particular disease that I wish I could bring to mind and tell you what it was, but they said that without it, they don't know. I try not to well up because it oh my god. Right, Paul from the future here. I'm just in the process of editing this, and you're about to watch me get a bit teary, and I didn't want anybody to worry about me, so I wanted to let you know that I get emotional during this next part because I am proud of what my channel has been able to do for people, and I am just thrilled that I'm able to have a positive impact on people's lives. I'm not about to get teary because of some of the negativity that I'm about to talk about. I am teary because I'm happy. These are tears of joy, so I didn't want people to worry about me, so I'll let carry on. It means something to me, this channel, and it means something to me that people are able to utilize the things that I am showing to them in such a way that it is actually changing their lives and making their lives bearable, because they said that before they had this, their life was completely unbearable. And I'm not just talking menopause, which of course it is valuable for. I'm talking about a disease that this person had suffered with throughout their life, and that's why I'm so emotional about it, because we'll get to the funny bits in a minute. I know people tune in for the comedy and stuff, but sometimes the comments in the comment section really get to me in a very negative way. And this is, for once, me able to say that this really mattered to me at the time, and it still clearly matters to me an awful lot now. So if you're looking for a product which will genuinely cool you down, and you're seeing people in the comment section saying, it doesn't work, I can promise you it does. Anyway, on with the show.
Little dollar store, Vin Diesel rides again. Little dollar store, Vin Diesel.
So, I've come for a family walk. And the weather is, of course, bland. And I said to Nisha, no, I don't need to put a jumper on, I'm fine.
How are you feeling?
F***ing freezing. Pissing freezing, so this neck collar's pointless. Well, so I thought. I've been wearing the neck collar now for a bit, and I actually kind of half joked to Nisha I'm going to stick it on and see if it warms me up, and it did. I actually got too hot and turned it off, and that wasn't enough. I had to not only turn it off, I had to take it off because it was bloody boiling. But now, I am climbing the most ridiculous hill in all of England, so I'm going to put it on again before I die. That's something worth mentioning, is I feel like I have to keep taking it off, at least because I'm not used to using it, I suppose.
Paul from the past. Oi, dum-dum. What? Why are you wearing glasses indoors? Continuity. Irrelevant. There's an app. There's an app for this thing. So if you want to... First of all, let me just clarify what I was saying there, is it has a heat pack mode. So it's got various modes in it, which you can control with the little buttons on the side. You can control things like fan speed and the mode, whether it's in like a hot temperature mode or a cold temperature mode. And there are presets for cooling. So there's like a cool 1, cool 2, and cool 3. And each one of those is a different temperature with a different fan speed. You can just use the app instead, and it just connects via Bluetooth, and it's instantaneous, which is actually really helpful, so you don't have to look at the thing. You can actually see it in the corner of your eye anyway, in your periphery. You can see what mode it's on based on what colour the little LED is. So whether you're using the app or whether you're using the physical buttons, it's actually a really easy to use product. That guy's just a moron. Hey. We don't get on. He's sleeping with my wife. Yes, it's still funny.
It's bloody great. Really, really, really good. It's cold around my neck, and the fans are blowing actual cold air instead of just the warm air from around us, straight up and down. So it's going downwards into my neck, and it's going upwards into my beautiful, very attractive head. The view's not bad either. So hot! There is another advantage, is I can't hear a word my wife is saying because of the fans. Always helpful. Huh? Why? I can.
I'm very annoying.
So we've just discovered that the bit of land that we're on is actually private. Big sign saying dogs on the loose. So we're getting the hell out of here. We did see a condom wrapper. Denisha said, grumpily, looks like a place that people go dogging. And then immediately asked me, what is dogging? It's where people take their dogs for a walk. I think it's fine. Something quite bizarre has happened to the English weather. I'm cool as a cucumber, except on my legs where I'm catching fire. It's really hot out here. I wish you could feel this. I wish I could just, like, put it on you so you could understand. But yeah, it's really, really good. Doing a fantastic job.
So, since becoming a dad, which is just endless fun, isn't it? Apparently it never ends.
Daddy dearest, look at my butt.
It never ends. The only exercise I get is hiking with Theo, which I do every single day. And this neck collar is actually really, really helpful because it is boiling hot out there a lot of the time, despite the fact we're in England. I don't know what's going on, but there is an orange ball in the sky. So we'll just very briefly talk about the science of what this is actually doing. Your carotid artery is here, and because you're applying cooling to your carotid artery, it's telling your brain, you're cooler, you can calm down a bit. So you don't sweat as much, you feel genuinely a lot more comfortable, but, and this is really important, you can't just go walking out into the desert and be like, oh, I'm cool now. You're not actually cool. You're just telling your brain that you are. It's a device for making you feel a lot more comfortable, which is why it's great for medical use cases. And for me, when I go out for walks with Theo, because my body is fine. It is capable of surviving the UK heat, but it gets pretty bloody uncomfortable when you're climbing steps with an 11-pound baby on your chest in the boiling hot sunshine. This device is great for those purposes. And I think it's worth mentioning that since the release of the last product, there has been an 80% increase in airflow thanks to some redesigned vents and some internal improvements too that have now enhanced the cooling efficiency by 24%. So this is an even better air conditioning fan than the previous ones I've featured. So in my testing for battery life, it was down to about 40% after a 2.5 hour walk, in which I had it heating for quite a bit of the time, I'd had it off for a bit because I got too hot, I'd had it cooling for an awful lot of the journey, and yeah, I'd say that their advertised rate is probably about right. They reckon that you get just over 3 hours out of it on its maximum cooling setting. I was using it for various different uses throughout my testing, and yeah, 40% by the time I got home from a 2 hot and a hot. I'm gonna finish it anyway. 40% from when I got home from a 2.5 hour walk. Not filming it again, it's like a third take. It charges up in about an hour and a half, and it does work plugged in as well. So if you were using it at a desk because you've got an employer that won't turn the aircon on, you can stick this thing on and it will run for your entire shift as long as you've got it plugged in. I wanted to just point out that every single episode, you will see it in the background. The original older brother of this thing that I've had for years on its charging stand because I always want it there should I intend to use it at any given moment. That's not because I'm like super clever and I knew that they would sponsor me again. It's because I do in fact intend to use the thing. I'm not that clever. If I was that clever, I wouldn't have spent 4 hours last week compositing Katy Perry into the Phantom Menace. Yes, I'm showing you that. Of course I'm showing you that again. It's brilliant. It's the best thing I ever did. There's basically nothing wrong with... You're not required. There's no elephant in the room this week. There's basically nothing wrong with it. You can't lie down with it this way. So if you were looking to sleep with it on, you would have to be that way up because the heat exchanger is on the back and you're going to suffocate it with your pillow if you lie down that way. That's probably it. You could plug this thing into your wall, lie face down, and actually use it to keep you cool at night in bed if you wanted to. And whilst it's still not a cheap device, it is way cheaper than it used to be. The first one of these that I reviewed was 300 quid. It was Ranvoo again. They've been doing this for a long time and they do really good work. They've been making cheaper iterations all the time to try and bring the costs down for people, and this is now the most affordable price it has ever been. As usual, there are links in the description as to where you can pick one up. All that's left to do is to thank these incredible people running up your screen, down your screen, It doesn't matter. These are my patrons from Patreon, without whom I would not be working this for a living. Is that English? It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter either. I'm also thanking this week Alan Harris specifically because he's the sweetest guy in the world. He's messaged me recently to be stupendously kind. I don't need to go into any more detail than that. If you want to be like those guys or like Alan, you can do that at either Patreon or buy me a one-off beer on PayPal, and either way, I'll genuinely love you forever. These are my Facebooks, my X, my Threads, my Instagrams, and my TikToks. Come and hang out there or be your best friends. See you next time.